Warning, the following program has been rated T for truth.
You can't handle the truth!
Oh, we think you can. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report with your host, truth warrior and mythbuster Kathleen Wells. The place where we distinguish fact from fiction, where data is used to drive points home, and where Kathleen takes the position that Democrats and black politicians have destroyed black America. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report. Now, your host, Kathleen Wells.
Welcome, my truth warriors. Hey, I missed you guys. Because last week, what did I do? I pre-recorded my show with my new sponsor, the Epic Times, and I had Jan Leeser, who is the Director of Strategic Engagement, and Siamak Karami, who is the General Manager with the Epic Times. I hope you guys listened to that show. It was a great show. Let's see, Jan is from China, and Siamak is from Iran, and they know what communism is about more than most Americans. So it was a pre-recorded show. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you heard it. And let's see, it was pre-recorded. I had to pre-record the show because why? I was at Town Hall 2018. It was fantastic. That was my first. This is like the big event for KRLA AM 870. It is a wonderful event. It is well attended. I mean, over 1,000 people are there. It was completely sold out. Let's see, it was on stage, and let's see, we heard from all the heavy hitters here at KRLA, Dennis Prager, Larry Elder, Michael Medved, Mike Gallagher, and the special guest, Sheriff David Clark. So next year, I plan to be on stage. Because I think I'm an expert on immigration. I know the numbers backwards and forwards, right? So I'm trying to convince the folks here at KRLA to have me on stage next year to talk about immigration. Because you guys know I'm a data girl, so I know the history, and I know I can go all the way back to the 1800s on immigration, high immigration and illegal immigration, how it adversely impacts Black America. You guys know, like, I'm an expert on that, right? And in fact, next week I'm going to a writer's workshop on immigration in DC. So I'll pre-record another show. But we're staying busy, and things are evolving here at the Naked Truth Report, and it's a good thing. Well, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was I wanted to talk about what's going on with Rosenstein and the FISA documents. I really wanted to talk about that, how they're undermining President Trump. It's kind of clear that, well, this is what the New York Times published. It isn't definitive, or rather, I should say, Rosenstein denied it. He denied that he was trying to tape Trump, tape him, and then get his clan together, his cohorts together to sort of like invoke the 25th Amendment. He denies that. But we know, we've been watching, this is something that I want to say. We have been watching Fox News. This is how we know all of this information. This is how we know that there was a plot and a plan to, to get Hillary in office, to undermine, and then once Trump was in office, to undermine Trump's presidency. We know this because we watch Fox News. But when you talk to folks, when you talk to Democrats who watch CNN and MSNBC all the time, relentlessly, and that's all they watch, they have no idea what you're talking about. They're clueless. It's like, what? That's not what's happening. We're like, what? You guys are nuts. Conservatives feel like Democrats are nuts, but I don't even want to get into that. That's a huge issue. I'm going to spend one show exactly on this stuff. I've been following it for the last 2 years, right? And we've been following this issue about Trump really declassifying the FISA documents. I mean, I think we're at the precipice of turning this whole thing over, right? We're on the edge of it happening. But the main thing I really want to talk about today, and I'm sure some of you really know, is this woman coming forth in what is her name? Christine, what is her middle name? What is her? Ford, Basley, is it Christine Basley? Is that it, Basley? Anyway, I really want to spend some time on that before I bring on my guest. My guest is my sponsor, ProEnlish, Stephen Guschov. We're going to bring Stephen on in a bit. But I really want to talk about this fact that this woman, what do I want to say? This is like what is it? It's a gimmick. I'm going to call it a gimmick. And that's all. The Democrats have to use gimmicks or something, something to get people interested on an emotional level because they have no substance. They lack substance. And I did one show on how liberal ideology has destroyed Black America. I did a whole show. You can see it on my archives, the new Naked Truth Report. Go to my YouTube channel, the Naked Truth Report YouTube channel. And I talked about how liberal ideology has destroyed Black America. This is obvious. This is something that I heard on Dennis Prager's show. He said it is restatement of the obvious is the duty of an intelligent man. Restatement of the obvious is the duty of the intelligent man. Is it not obvious that liberals, that Democrats, that liberal ideology has destroyed Black America? How is this not obvious to everyone? This is what I want to know. When I talk to other Blacks who are not off that Democratic plantation, they think that the Democrats are fabulous. So this segues into why this whole thing about the Kavanaugh confirmation and hearing is just bogus. It's a gimmick. Because we've had 5 decades of liberal ideology emanating out of the Supreme Court. That free sex feminism business, which destroyed Black families, right? That started in the 70s. Okay? And then we had, this whole thing about integration. Blacks went to worse schools. Our school, initially schools were great in California. Now they're at the bottom. Now Blacks are at the bottom. Like, the other data point is like, we had 87% two-parent families during the 50s or during the 40s. I played LBJ giving the commencement speech in front of Howard University. In 1965, he said we had 65% two-parent families. Some data points, I think the Moynihan report says it's 70-something, 78 or something like that. But anyway, it's greater than what it is today. So 5 decades after being with the Democrats, we're down to 25% two-parent families. And I've said repeatedly, the family is the most important institution in society. So getting back to this confirmation for Kavanaugh, after 5 decades of failure from the Democrats, isn't it time to try something different? Why don't we're going to keep going the same way, failing? Is that what we're going to do? Isn't it time to let the pendulum swing the other way and try conservative principles? Try, values like keeping your traditional values like having a family. Don't you think it's worth trying? Strong families, keeping the family together. Don't you think it's a good thing? Entrepreneurial, small businesses. This is another thing. We've been voting 5 decades for Democrat, and we don't have 5 decades of businesses up and down Crenshaw Boulevard. So don't you think it's time for Black men to maybe start to open up small businesses? So what I'm trying to tell my listeners, anyone who's against this Kavanaugh, because all of these principles, and that's another thing I want to talk about, this abortion thing. Do you know how many Black babies have been aborted? This is the issue. If, Democrats have precluded Black men from earning real wealth, from opening up businesses. They said rely on big government. They had the government come in and be the husband for the Black women with single kids, right? As opposed to starting strong, having Black men start small businesses. There should be businesses all up and down Crenshaw Boulevard owned by Black men. And if Black men had real wealth, they would marry their women and the women wouldn't have to get abortions. Can you understand that? So what I'm trying to say is that anyone is for going again, letting liberal policies be on the Supreme Court. You're not paying attention to what's going on. You're sleepwalking through life. And the good thing about dealing with having Obama for those 8 years, it's a wonderful thing. Because but for Obama, we wouldn't have Trump. And more Black folks are involved, are embracing, are more sophisticated about politics. So yeah, we needed Obama. We needed Obama for those 8 years because a lot of folks snapped out of it. A lot of folks said, hey, wait a second. And a lot of folks are now paying attention. Anyway, let me play. I haven't even said all the things that I wanted to say. I'm going to bring on my sponsor, the ProEnlish. But before I do, I would like to play. Jeff, what is that I have that I wanted to play? No. I want to play the other one. Yeah, this is from Prager University, and it's like the 5 things essential to Black America. 5, the most important, and I know most of you, a lot of those folks who don't pay attention and who are not doing their research and homework is going to say number 1 is racism, white supremacy. That's not like the 5 most important things for Black America. So this is from Prager University, and I'm going to just play number 1. The number 1 thing, the most important thing for Black America. Can you play it, Jeff? Thank you.
Problem number 1. Unquestioning allegiance to so-called progressive policies. Unwavering loyalty to progressive liberal policies is the primary reason these dire conditions persist. It both makes them possible and perpetuates them. It's no coincidence that progressivism is the common thread that binds predominantly Black cities where single-parent homes, failing schools, rampant poverty, and crime predominate. Look at cities like Detroit, Philadelphia, and Baltimore. They've been run by progressive Democrats for decades. If their liberal policies were at all effective, these cities should have become models of economic growth and prosperity. Instead, they're models of dysfunction. By fostering and exploiting the victim mentality, discouraging self-examination, subsidizing baby mamas, and making excuses for Black thugs, so-called progressive policies don't alleviate the problems that afflict the Black community. They aggravate those problems. You may have noticed that racism did not make the list. Why not? It's simple. There will be no solution to the problems afflicting Black America until more Blacks recognize that the issues plaguing our community are ultimately self-inflicted. Does racism exist? Sure, but there are other problems far more serious. And waiting until there are no more races will mean waiting and making excuses forever.
That was a video from Prager University, and that was like the number 1 problem plaguing Black America is allegiance to liberal ideology. Liberal ideology for 5 decades. Look at our cities. Look at Baltimore. Look at Philadelphia. Look at Los Angeles, which has 40% of their homeless are Black folks. Liberal ideology. So getting this back to this Kavanaugh, it's time. We've had liberal ideology emanating from the Supreme Court for 5 decades. It's time for the pendulum to swing the other way, to try something new, And now I see that another woman has come out, in addition to this Christine, against Kavanaugh. So, this is what is called a gimmick. We cannot, Democrats have no substance. So we have to use gimmicks to go again. We have to talk about racism, our sexual assault, our rape, either race or gender. These are gimmicks that we use to win, to maintain power, to maintain control. They don't deserve it. Democrats do not deserve it. They have destroyed Black America. And until they're able to be held accountable for that, there's nothing legitimate about them. They have no credibility whatsoever. You shouldn't listen to anything a Democrat says until they take responsibility for destroying Black America. Do you understand? So anyway, now I want to bring on my guest, Stephen Guschov, who is the executive director of ProEnlish. You guys know ProEnlish is my sponsor. I'm so happy to have you, Stephen. Thank you for joining me on the Naked Truth Report.
How you doing there, Kathleen? And I want to add one thing right away. We look forward to seeing you at the Writers' Conference next week. ProEnlish is going to be an exhibitor there, so it'll be great to talk to you in person in Washington next week.
Oh, it's going to be so fun. This will be my 2nd time attending that Writers' Conference. The Writers' Conference focuses on immigration. So I'll be delighted to meet you. And Stephen, why don't you give us an update as to what's going on with the English Language Unity Act?
Absolutely, yeah. And for anyone that's not too familiar with us, they can find out more information on our website at proenglish.org. That's proenglish.org. We're the nation's leading advocate of official English legislation, and so one of the things that we heartily support is the English Language Unity Act in Congress. Right now we have 71 supporters in the House of Representatives and 7 in the U.S. Senate. What the bill would do is that it would establish English as the official language of the United States for governmental purposes only. So for governmental purposes, everything would be in English. Why is that important? Well, there's about 2 billion reasons or more why that's important. Because right now, Americans are forced to spend billions of dollars every year in government-mandated, government-forced translations and interpretations. Why is that happening? Because in the year 2000, former President Clinton signed an executive order mandating that anyone that receives any federal funding whatsoever must supply interpretations and translations in foreign language to anyone that requests it. So even if one person comes up to you and says, I need something translated into Swahili, you must do it on your own dime, at your own cost. Back when Bush 43 was president, there was a government study showing that that was costing Americans at least $2 billion a year to supply those government-mandated translations and interpretations. And again, that study was about 15 years ago. So the cost has to be something north of $2 billion a year. So there's a couple ways of getting rid of this. Number one, Congress needs to pass the English Language Unity Act. That would mean English would become the official language of the nation. No more necessary government-forced translations or interpretations. Another option that we're also looking at is to have President Trump sign an executive order. He could do his own new executive order repealing President Clinton's executive order, and that would get rid of all government-mandated translations and interpretations, and he could make English the official language of the USA as well. We've had 5 meetings with different aides to President Trump and Vice President Pence in the White House. We were just with Vice President Pence yesterday at the Values Voters Summit here in Washington. Vice President Pence supported the English Language Unity Act 5 times when he was a congressman from Indiana. And so we know we've gotten the ear of the White House on this, and we're really hoping that President Trump will sign a new executive order, because frankly, that would be a lot quicker and faster than trying to get it through Congress.
Okay, so you gave us your update, and another thing that I'd like you to talk about is the fact this new study that came out that said that nearly half in the top 5 cities don't speak English at home, In fact, 67 million. It has doubled in 27 years. Talk about that impact on American society.
Yeah, those are some shocking numbers, and people can read about that on our website. We have information about that study at proenglish.org in our gallery. And basically what the study said is that nearly 67 million people in the USA do not speak English at home, and that includes about 50% of the residents of the top 5 cities in the USA. Those are some pretty big numbers that we're talking about. You're talking about more than 20% of the entire U.S. population not speaking English at home anymore, and about half of the residents of the top 5 cities.
Exactly.
Well,
in fact, let me give it, the number for Los Angeles is 59%. Do you understand?
Yes, 59%. Right. It's a very high number there.
Do you guys understand what's happening to our country? And this goes back into assimilation and why. Also, I'd like you to touch on why it's important that we assimilate. We're all Americans. Touch on that also.
Absolutely, because the downside of this, when you read numbers like this, is that America, is threatening to become another Tower of Babel. It's that simple. How'd that work out? It didn't work out too well. We're threatening to become another Tower of Babel. It's leading to the Balkanization of the United States, where what you have is you have people speaking many different languages. Right now, there are more than 300 languages spoken in the USA. And if you do not embrace English as the official language of the USA, then all you're doing is setting up linguistic ghettos. Linguistic ghettos where you have small groups of people speaking different languages. We need to embrace the fact that English is the historic and common unifying language of the USA. Look, here's something very interesting happening. Taiwan, the nation of Taiwan, has just announced that in 2019, they will establish English as an official language of Taiwan. Now, Taiwan is about to establish English as an official language. Right now, about 85% of United Nations member nations have an official language, and 53 of them have English as an official language. Taiwan would become the 54th. How is it possible for a nation like Taiwan to establish English as an official language and not the USA? It's insanity when you think of it. You mentioned assimilation before. Part of this does deal with linguistic and cultural assimilation. And this is something that we talk about all the time here at ProEnglish. But if you're a legal immigrant to this nation, if you're coming to this nation, the most important thing you can do is to immerse yourself in English and become proficient in English right away. Why? Because if you learn English, which is also the international language of business, commerce, and finance, then you're going to put yourself in a better position to get better job offers, to make more money, to better support your family, to not have to go on government welfare, to not have to rely on government social services. If you immerse yourself in English, become proficient in English, you're going to have a better shot at the American dream. That's why we advocated for everyone coming to our shores.
And you remember, I think I sent you the article on the fast food worker in Florida who could not speak English to the customer, and she sent the customer away. You see, this is an example of why it's important that everyone in America speak English.
Absolutely. And, that is such a fascinating case at that Taco Bell down in Hialeah, Florida. I've been to Hialeah. It's right outside Miami. Yes, it is largely Hispanic, but you had a situation, for any of your listeners that aren't aware, where an African-American couple pulls up to the drive-thru at Taco Bell in Hialeah. They try to place their order in English, and the woman, the employee working at the Taco Bell at the drive-thru window, becomes all agitated and basically tells them not to speak in English. They keep speaking in English. She clearly understands English because she's responding to them in Spanish, but clearly understanding the English language questions they're asking. Finally, they're forced to drive away without placing an order because she refuses to serve them. They drive off. I don't know where they went afterwards. Taco Bell got some pushback over this. They fired her. Well, here's the deal. For Taco Bell, this is really bad imaging. It is really bad optics for them, because the message that they're sending forth, if they allow these sorts of shenanigans to continue in Hialeah, is, okay, if you're in South Florida, you want a burger and you speak English, don't go to, you want your fast food, don't go to Taco Bell if you speak English. Go somewhere else. Go to McDonald's or Burger King or whatever, because we're not going to serve you if you speak English. That's bad. That means a lot less dollars. That means people going to other places. What we recommend highly for Taco Bell is that they actually follow in the footsteps of another fast food franchise, McDonald's. What McDonald's has done is something quite wonderful. They have a program called English Under the Arches. English Under the Arches. And that is an English language learning program for any McDonald's employee. Where if you're a McDonald's employee, you can learn English in the McDonald's restaurant where you work, before your shift or after your shift, because McDonald's wants you to learn English, if it's not your native language, so that you can advance in the company and be promoted in the company and go from an entry-level employee to an assistant manager, to a manager, to a regional leadership position. McDonald's has invested about $150 million in a global education program, and a large part of it is this English Under the Arches program. There's already wonderful examples, and people can read about it, again, on our website at ProEnlish.org. Lots of different managers and assistant managers at McDonald's who started off entry-level, learned English, advanced in the company, making more money at McDonald's as well. It's a win-win situation. Frankly, Taco Bell should do the exact same thing to avoid this problem like they had in Hialeah.
And also, we also spoke about how bilingual education has been a complete and utter failure. And all we have to do is look at the school system, the public school system here in Los Angeles. We used to be at the top. Now we've gone into bilingual education and we're at the bottom.
Absolutely. And bilingual education is another thing that people can read about at proenglish.org. But here's the problem. It goes right to what you said, is that it sounds compassionate. Oh, someone coming to this nation, let's educate them in their native tongue. That sounds all warm and nice feeling and compassionate. It's not, because all you're doing, again, I'll use the same phrase, is you're setting up a linguistic ghetto. What we advocate at ProEnglish is not bilingual education, but the exact opposite, English language immersion. So someone, and it doesn't matter if they're in kindergarten or first grade or whatever level they're coming into the school system in this nation, they need to immerse themselves in English right away, even if it's kindergarten or first grade. Immerse themselves, become proficient in English as soon as possible. That will help them to do better in school, in their English language courses. They'll probably get better offers in terms of university. And down the line, once they become working adults, again, they will be in a better position to get better job offers, to earn more money, to help support their family, to avoid government welfare and government social services. And so bilingual education sounds good, but it's a lousy idea. You've seen it in LA and elsewhere in California. The better idea is English language immersion and English language proficiency for students, no matter how young they are, as early as possible.
Okay, well, now we're going to take, and now we're going to go to a break. We're going to hear the Ronnie C. Wright Minute. Can we hear that, Jeff, do you think? We're going to go to a break. We're going to hear the Ronnie C. Wright Minute, and then we'll come back and we'll take a few phone calls, and then we'll bring on my next guest, who is Johnny. He's right here in the studio. We'll be right back. Thanks.
This is the Ronnie C. Wright Minute, thought-provoking political commentary brought to you by PromptJet, PromptJet.com. This week's Timeless Message Award for faith, freedom, family, focus, finance, and fitness goes to Hiram R. Revels, a Republican senator and the first black citizen to serve in the U.S. Congress representing Mississippi in 1871 during the Reconstruction era, and taught us courage, C-O-U-R-A-G-E. Creating opportunity unleashes real American goodness every day. Thanks, Hiram R. Revels, for believing in God and Constitution to make a choice for good. Back to you, Kathleen.
Welcome back. I'm with my guest, Stephen Guschov, who is the executive director of ProEnlish. So, Stephen, are you open to taking a couple of calls? Hello? Oh, hi, Stephen.
Yes.
Hi, are you open to taking a couple of calls? Okay, let's take a couple.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Let's take a call from Dave in Orange County. Hi, Dave. Welcome to the Naked Truth Report.
Hi, good evening. I think that to defeat the issue, now, we need to defeat bilingual. As David Horowitz said in his Academy of Political Warfare, identify your enemy and devise ways to defeat him. Well, we need to approach this strategically, and I think that one thing we have to do is think about the unions. We're going to have to defeat their message, these school unions, and we need to approach the legal citizen coming out of these citizenship conventions and approach them with this issue, because I think they would agree. Didn't that initiative pass in the mid-90s or the early 2000s for English only? Well, I think we can win if we approach it strategically, as I mentioned.
I agree with a lot of what he's saying. In other words, when you look at education, you have to make it about the students and what is best with them. And as I said before, we advocate for students coming to this nation for whom English is not their native tongue to be immersed in English right away and to become proficient in it as soon as possible. So if these
let's tell them,
and unions are serious about educating kids, they need to do it in English.
And we need to tell them that California is 47th, third from the bottom in education.
Yeah, and that shows you that bilingual education, which is a large component in California, has failed. Numbers show that it has failed. That's why English immersion is the better solution.
Yes, English immersion. Well, I want to encourage my listeners to go to proenglish.org. Thank you, Dave, for calling in. English immersion is the best solution. We're very, very angry with what's going on with the Kavanaugh confirmation hearing. We know that Democrats have failed Black America. They're failing America. Free sex feminism has destroyed Black families. now, excuse me, now liberal ideology, well, this gender war, the Me Too movement is destroying all American families, just putting a wedge between men and women. So I want to thank you, Stephen, for being a guest and for being a sponsor. And I'll see you next week at the Writers' Workshop.
Sounds great, Kathleen. Look forward to seeing you in Washington next week.
Thank you very much. And everyone, please go to ProEnlish.org and, give them some love, show some donations. In fact, donate to all of my sponsors, okay? We have ProEnlish.org. Go to their website. We also have the Epic Times. You can go to readepic.com and subscribe to the newspaper. And then the South Los Angeles Inglewood Republican Assembly. Show them some love. This is important now to show support for non-Democrats, for Republicans. You see what's going on with Kavanaugh, right? We must get activated and vote out all these Democrats during the midterms. This is so important, folks. It's time to get activated. Because what did they do? They brought in another woman to make an actual allegation against Kavanaugh. We've already had 5 decades of liberal ideology emanating out of the Supreme Court, and it's failed. Free sex feminism has made families deteriorate, right? So anyway, I'm here now with my in-studio guest, Johnny. Let me talk to you. Johnny Nalbandian, and he's running for the 28th district, and guess who he's running against? He won in the primary, and he's running against Adam Schiff. We know who Adam Schiff is, right? Here in California, that son of a gun. He's the main one. He's the main one sort of like leading the charge to get Trump and the Russia hoax sort of like, how do I want to say? He's the
Kathleen, you know how you could say this?
How can I say
First of all, I love the name of your show.
Thank you.
That's number one. And you do a great job. I've been sitting in this studio for an hour, and I absolutely love every second of it. You know what I call it, Kathleen?
What?
Adam Schiff is the president of the President Trump Poison Club.
Right.
The vice president is Brad Sherman.
Right.
The mad secretary is Maxine Waters.
That's right.
And Tony Cardenas is the vice secretary.
Right.
So you got these 4 that are bordering my beautiful, which used to be paradise when we came here from New Jersey, my beautiful paradise 28th district.
Mm-hmm.
And Kathleen, by the way, I'm making a vow. After I win this election, out of all 53 districts, the 28th district will be the richest of them all.
Right, because you're having a town hall on entrepreneurial, small business. This is something that I want Black men to get involved in, and is opening up a small business. I mean, you should make a vow to yourself. Black men should make a vow to yourself to open up small businesses and to no longer vote Democrat.
On one of my signs, you'll see the small business champion.
Right.
Okay, we're going to have 3 town halls. The first town hall will be on Wednesday night. It'll be town hall number 1. Let's talk small business. I'm not a politician. I'm not a philosopher. I'm not a sidewalk philosopher. I'm not a lawyer. I'm from the wharf. I've spent 5 decades. I opened a company at 19 years old. We became the Tiffany's of the seafood industry. I worked like crazy. Can you imagine? Today I was giving a speech in Weir, and I remembered when Obama got there and said, "You didn't build that." Well, let me tell you something. I used to wake up 2 o'clock in the morning from my beautiful warm bed, go into the cold fish, come home at 9 o'clock at night, okay? And one day, my wife was making spaghetti. We had spaghetti, and my face went right into it. I fell asleep. And my high school schedule, by the way, was 10 at night to 7 in the morning. I'd go work at Food Giant Market on Hollywood and Western, which, by the way, is across the street from Adam Schiff's Hollywood office, which has got graffiti all over it, okay?
Well, Hollywood and Western, oh my gosh. I know someone that lives around there in those apartments. That's a very, very different kind of...
No, but I got to tell you, when I was growing up, and
Right,
growing groceries
I know.
in the middle of the night,
Right.
we used to leave the door open of the store.
Right.
We weren't open.
It's not like that
And let
now.
me tell you,
Right.
it was paradise.
Right.
And I use this word paradise very strongly. I used to drive my Schwinn Stingray bicycle around there.
Right.
I was a cute little kid, by the way. Anyway, so I got to tell you. So,
Well, you don't have to tell me because I grew up. I'm a native, so I know.
Well, I'm from
that-
Jersey.
Right, but we know how
Yeah.
LA used to be. It was so much traffic driving here.
Oh,
They've
unbelievable.
destroyed this town. They've
Yeah.
destroyed this city.
Yeah,
the Democrats.
They've completely destroyed it.
Right.
You know what? They want to turn it into Venezuela.
Right.
And you know what? What are they resisting, Kathleen? Tell me that. And you know what? Right now, I just heard just now, because I was busy at an event this afternoon, another woman has come forward.
That's right.
Well, let me step forward.
Right.
I used to go to school in Encino, my private school.
Right.
It was a private
Right.
American Armenian high school.
Right.
And we had a church in the front. I kissed a girl in front of our church. What do you think? You think I should get out of the race?
No.
This has become a circus.
It's a gimmick. You see, because Democrats have nothing.
They
No
got nothing.
substance. They've had 5 decades of Black folks sustaining that party, and what have they delivered? Look at Baltimore, look at Philadelphia, look at Los Angeles. 40% of the homeless are Black Americans. They have failed. It's over. So Democrats have no legitimacy whatsoever, no credibility. It's over for these folks. We've had enough, right?
I don't know if you know this number, okay? Since my opponent took over in 2013,
Right.
homelessness is up 75%.
Oh, I believe that.
And guess what? Johnny's got a little surprise for everybody.
What?
The day after my town hall, I've contracted with my favorite burger. They're going to have their truck out there on Hollywood Boulevard and Hillhurst.
Mm-hmm. I know where
We're
that is.
celebrating Johnny's 1 year in the campaign anniversary, and all the homeless are going to have over 200 meals on Johnny from that truck. They were going to rally. They're going to help me celebrate. And guess what I did last night?
What?
No, I didn't go to a nightclub. I wanted to, but I didn't go. But we went to Hollywood and Highland, okay? And we spent a couple of hours over there talking to these folks. You know, there's a lot of smart people out there.
Right.
And what I'm going to do is not handouts. I'm going to create businesses.
They need to start business. But listen, you won the primary as a Republican against Adam Schiff in the
Correct.
28th district, right?
Yeah, with all his cheating and everything.
Right. But so how are you going to beat this guy? How is it going to happen?
Well, I got to tell you, right now we're grouse rooting it the best we can, okay? He's got $4 million in the bank. Johnny, as of this morning, has $888 in the bank. What I'm asking, Kathleen, is get the folks out there. We're not asking for a lot. You know, President Trump's average average donation was $61.75. Okay. Now we're asking for 100,000 liberty-loving Americans to donate from $1 to $30 to our website. I got to tell you, then I can go up right across this
Give
guy.
them your website address.
www.votejohnny, JOHNNY.US. www.votejohnny.us.
Okay, you know what? I need to activate my anti-Democrat folks, okay? I know hey, you know what? I'm the #1 show on Sundays. That's a lot of people, folks.
You deserve it.
And let me tell you, I need to activate you guys. Because you see, they brought another woman. We knew it was going to happen. That another woman would come forward to get rid of Kavanaugh. We the people got to do it. We the people got to take the government back into our hands, right?
Yeah, that's why they bought time.
We got to get rid of these
strategy.
Democrats. We got to get rid of these Democrats. I'm not kidding. So I'm begging my people. I'm asking my people. I'm telling my people to start putting your effort and energy and all you got into Republicans.
There's going to be a big surprise coming. Let me tell you.
We got to have a red wave. That's a tongue twister.
I'm out on the street every
Yeah.
day. And let me tell you something. during the Reagan years when I worked for the Reagan campaign, 84, we were going to lose.
Right.
We were going to lose.
Right.
We won 49 states. And let me tell you, we had the Democrats were called, that came over for Reagan were called Reagan Blue Dogs.
Right.
Right now, you won't believe the Johnny Blue Dogs. I call them Johnny Blue Dogs. I got Democrats that are moderate, Harry Truman, JFK Democrats that love me.
Right.
And I told them, I says, I don't care about party, schmarty, nothing. To me, America first. America first.
America first.
Go out there, folks. Vote for America first candidates.
Okay, so what we're talking about is that he has a town hall coming up. You know, I want to see black men start to open up businesses. Come on, you can do it. I know you can do it. It's in our hands. It's in the hands of the people. We got to vote out every Democrat. We got to get activated in this midterm election because we see what they're doing. You see this gimmick. They had this woman, Christine, stalling so they could go out and find another woman to come up with an allegation of sexual assault. We've had liberal ideology for 5 decades, and look at Baltimore, okay? Look at Chicago. What did Obama do for Chicago? Anyway, Johnny, September 26th, Wednesday, that's this coming Wednesday from 6 to 9. He's having a food at 300 Harvey Drive in Glendale. It's a small business. Let's talk small business. Black folks, you have to get connected with the right people, people that know how to start a business. Everything is connection. Stop dealing with these liberals. Stop dealing with these Democrats. They're not doing anything for you. Deal with these people that are in small businesses and know how to start a business.
You know,
right,
Kathleen,
Johnny?
on my show last week, you know who we talked about? The founder of McDonald's. A couple of weeks before, one of my heroes, Colonel Sanders. He was almost homeless. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm making you a promise. I'm looking you straight in the face right now. Hey, I'm not an eloquent speaker. What you see is what you get. People either love me or they hate me.
Right.
There's either the Johnny Love Club or the Hate Club.
Right.
Now, I'm making you a promise today.
Right.
I will create entrepreneurs out of a lot of those homeless.
I believe you.
Okay? I know how to do it. I know how to make a payroll. Ask Adam Schiff if he knows how to make a payroll.
Right.
There was a beautiful meme that one of my people put up. And in fact, he's happened to sit in the studio. Aiden is with me. He's our coalition leader.
Mm-hmm.
He runs our Young Passionate Patriots Club coalition.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, he's got a meme. Adam's got a tray of cupcakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then right next to him, he puts me with a tray of lobsters.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "Who would you rather feed you?" You know. But anyway, my point is this. Okay, these people don't know how to do a payroll. I know how to run a business. I started at 19 years old. I've done a payroll every other week. I had 4 seafood plants. 2 of the plants had payroll week 1. The other ones had it week 2. Okay, and let me tell you, when you're making $150,000, $200,000 payroll. You know, there's days you're short a few bucks here and there. Sometimes you're over, sometimes you're short. But to own a business, you got to be tenacious. You got to go out there, have a heart of, you got to love your business. You got to love what you do. And I'm telling you, like last night, I'm talking to these folks out there. They're smart people. Okay? And they got some bad luck. And again, I'm not throwing handouts. I want the ladder up. I want to call you on your show one day out of the blue. Guess what I did with this guy? He's opened a fish market, for example. Okay?
And
or
this is,
anything.
you know, and I'd love to see, you know, because black folks love fish, particularly on Friday. And there's a fish place on, I think it's King Boulevard and near Normandy or Dinker. That Alex Fish Shop. You know, I have wondered why have it, because it's owned by Koreans or whatever. Why black folks love fish, okay, on Friday. I want to know, why don't black men have fish stores?
Hey,
okay?
in my day when I came here, you had you buy, we fry.
Right.
And there was places, I used to travel down to South Central. I used to travel down there to go. This is before I was in the fish business.
Right.
To sit down and eat Louisiana fried catfish.
There's one on.
Nobody does it like you guys, man.
We don't have the stores anymore. Now they're owned by Koreans. Listen, black folks need to.
Why should the Koreans buy these fish markets?
Because
I'm not telling them not to have fish markets. Everybody deserves a break in America.
We've been here forever. Listen, they have destroyed, Democrats have destroyed black America. Anyway, we have 1 minute, and I want you to say where people can go to your website and make donations, Johnny.
Thank you. By the way, I turned down a $5 million. No, excuse me, it's not five. That was Trump. He turned down $5 million. Johnny turned down $10,000. And a story for another day. These people wanted to own me. Oh. I just want you to know up front, folks, nobody owns me, and they never will. You know who owns me? God. God owns me. Anyway, you can go to my website. All we're looking for, $1, $5, $10. www.votejohnny, JOHNNY.US. Trust me, if I work, like last night I was telling you, today on my speech in Whittier, I said, if I work less than 100 hours a week, take a baseball bat to my head.
Okay, I love you guys, my Truth Warriors and Mythbusters. Please go to Johnny's Town Hall #1, where they're going to talk small business, Wednesday, September 26th at Fuji Seafood Buffet and Grill, $18.99, all you can eat. They're going to talk small business at 300 Harvey Drive in Glendale. Come on out, folks. Tell them that you're a Truth Warrior. You heard about Johnny on the Naked Truth Report. I'm Kathleen Wells. I love my Truth Warriors. I love my Mythbusters. This is my love song to you who are native Los Angelinos, native Californians, and Americans. My love song to you. See you next week.
Can I say I love you?